Hello. You know how like every 3 or 4 years, maybe even every 2 to 3 years, there's a team that kind of sneaks up out of nowhere, and it's usually a young team, and they arrive way ahead of schedule, and people are always like, ah, like no one saw it coming. I think that next year that team is going to be Detroit. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick, just because if in a year, if that prediction comes true, then I can look back on this video and say like he's a beast for predicting that. But I just wanted to go over some of their stuff real quick. I'm not like a Pistons fan or anything. I'm just a fan of the league. It's not like I'm just a homer. I watch all this games, so I'm analyzing everyone on equal footing. So I think Detroit has a chance to be super legit. I think they could get in the top six this year alone, which would again be arriving way ahead of schedule, and uh, in 2 years they could be a top four seed. So we just go over the talking points real quick and just watch a little bit of video. Obviously, like I brought up some Cade highlights, but it's like okay, I just decided to close that tab because there's really no need to talk about Cade. Like he's the real deal. He can create, he can shoot, he's got good size. Uh, Seems like he's got his head on straight, so definitely a face of the franchise guy going forward. Very Chauncey-esque in all of those details I named, and he's even bigger than Chauncey. So all the tools are there. But I'm really excited about their two rookies this year. So we can just watch some of these highlights real quick. And again, like for stuff like summer league, like it matters to an extent, but it doesn't also to an extent. I think you'd have a easier time arguing that someone who struggled in summer league projects poorly rather than automatically equate playing well with projecting well. But there's still some. It's not enough to like just look at the box score and be like, okay, blah blah blah, because there's so much context in summer league. It's better to see how they're getting those stats. So we can watch a little bit of stuff like this. I should turn the volume down. Good vision. That's a pretty straightforward pass, but still saw it. And the decision by which he saw it was pretty good. That's what I like, watching a play like
three
that.
guys touch it, but how quickly does the ball move? And Ivy.
Deion Johnson out of Tennessee, 21st pick last year, has 5. Ivy another 3 ball. This one is.
I mean, I know these are highlights, so the only shots you're ever going to show are ones that go in. But the form looks fine. The release speed looks fine. It's definitely like the tool is definitely there. But there's some I remember watching this video a while ago, so there's definitely some highlights later on that I think are pretty noteworthy. I like that he and Cade are both big too. I'm a big fan of bigger guards. I'm less high on smaller guards, and that their backcourt is like very well sized. I think bodes well. Again, going back to the Chauncey and Rip analogy.
Off the kick out.
That dunk to me is way more impressive than the first one from an athleticism perspective. The gather, the coordination to do it all in one step. It's like when you watch highlights like that, it's like you can't really. It's not important to picture that particular play in an NBA setting. It's more about like what does that translate to, and the fact that he's got the oop was a 2-footer, I believe. Let's watch it again. Sorry, I'm like nine. Yeah, it's 2-footer. I was like 99% sure, but I just want to watch it and be sure. So the fact that he's got the 2-footed down pat, and like he's also got the quickness piece to have the 1-footer so smooth. I think those are both good signs. I'm big on loading quick versus loading strong. I'll explain for people who haven't watched my channel before. Basically, most athletic endeavors, but specifically basketball, because that's the one I'm most familiar with. There's two basic ways you can load up when you're just in an athletic position. You can load quick or load strong. Loading quick is like you're light on your feet, you're on your toes, you can change direction faster, you can respond to other people's change of direction faster, cuts, things of that nature. And then loading up strong is like if you're boxing out, if you're posting up, taking a charge, stuff like that. And that's when you're trying to get strong with your feet, you're trying to hold a position. And a lot of basketball, a lot of athleticism is really just the ability to change those loads intuitively and quickly while you're playing the game. If you watch a lot of like really elite level guys who move well, a lot of and think about it. Even when you're playing D, like if you're playing perimeter D, you're loading up quick when the guy's driving on you. But let's say he gets a half a step on you, or he goes into a full post. Some bigger wings do that occasionally, or even it's just you're anticipating a pick or you're going through something. There are times even when you're playing D that you actually end up loading strong. So it's the recognition and ability to change loading quick versus loading strong. That's a big component of how well you move. I'll just tell this is a little irrelevant, but I'll just tell a really quick story about that. I was playing at LA Fitness a few months ago, and this guy who comes to play, great athlete, like you know the type. They clearly can move well, and they clearly are quick and strong. Also, he came into the lane, and he was doing I saw it coming. It was a spin move coming. I've seen him play before. I'm like, I kind of think he does the spin move, but even by the way he was moving, I was anticipating a spin move, and I was a help defender. I wasn't on him, so I came over, and to me, I'm thinking a spin move is a quick move, so I'm loaded up quickly. Anticipating that I'm going to have to read the spin and then make a play, react to it to get to the spot ahead of time. But this guy in particular does like a strong spin move. It's not your typical spin move. So barreled right into my chest and knocked me from the restricted zone all the way to the bleach, not the, what do you call it, like the soft, like the felt on the wall. And it was a great hit. And I love contact. It didn't bother me at all. I gave him dab. I'm like, oh, that's a nice strong move. But the point is like, yeah, it's because I was loaded up on my toes, anticipating a quick move, that when it hit me, I wasn't ready for that at all, and it sent me flying. So I gave him dap for that. But the ironic thing is, like, I load up strong so well. Like, had I known it was coming, it wouldn't have affected me at all. Like, I've lifted weights with this guy. He benches like 225, right? I bench like 365. So I'm like way stronger than him, but that's not the point. The point was I wasn't loaded properly to take advantage of that. So just an example of how like loading quick versus loading strong affects like what happens on the court. Where was I? Oh, all that just to talk about how I'm like watching the athletic plays and trying to understand how well a person moves and how they might be able to apply that tool on the next level. I love this. I remember this highlight. I love this move. This is, to me, says someone is like really, really NBA ready. Splitting, not even just splitting the pick, because like a lot of people can do that, but recognizing when to do it. Like, that's a great time to do it. It wasn't really in danger of not working out, which of course if you did in that situation it would look bad. Not just look bad, but it would result in a negative play. Yeah, just the recognition and obviously the athleticism to get there so quick, and then the finish. A little mini up and under, not full up and under. It wasn't in there the whole time, but I just remember seeing that move. Like that's, if you can do that, if you have the other pieces, you can obviously be NBA successful. By the way, when did Stu start shooting three-pointers? I thought that was a little hilarious. Like, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, it's an assist, but like, it's an assist because he passed it from one side of the top to the other to a guy who no one expected to shoot a three. So obviously no work. I could have made that assist. No work needed, but just how interesting is it that Stu started shooting threes? Speaking of Stu, like, he's clearly like an NBA caliber starter at this point. I think he's pretty much established that. I think he actually has a better feel for the game than a lot of people might assume based on a player of that profile. And then obviously everyone knows about the LeBron incident, which is, borderline hilarious, but really it just shows that, like, he's afraid of no man. Like, he doesn't care if you're the face of the league, and that if you do something like this, casual fans will forever associate you more with that than your play. But, it's like he doesn't mind that. He thinks that, like, I'm not afraid of anyone. Like, I'll play against anyone. Obviously maybe take some anger management, but the sentiment I understand, and I think is positive, is what I'm trying to say.
100%.
Ivy turns a corner.
That dribble right there is very pro too. Like the like whipping the ball around to turn the corner faster right there. But a lot of people do that and they don't have perfect tightness on their handle. The fact that he does, the fact that it's like it's still perfectly handled after is,
Ivy turns a corner.
and then again, the little mini up and under finish. I think all of these showed NBA ready tools. I know I spent a lot of time on this video, but I just wanted to, like, we already talked about Cade, how he's already there. We talked about Stu a little bit. We haven't even talked about Sadiq Bey yet. Obviously, the 50-point game everyone remembers. What else? Yeah, a little, for his play style, probably a little undersized. Like, if he played like he did in a 6'9" body or a 6'10" body, you'd really have, you'd have the next Rasheed Wallace. At 6'7", it's like, but the thing about Sadiq is, like, everyone's talking about on Reddit how all these stories are coming out that his like his work ethic is really on point right now. So that's only something to feel good about. And then I think there's a lot. Yeah. So we'll close this tab. But so that's a lot. Like I said, it's just I just want to point out that they have a lot of the pieces right now that look like, yeah, that it really looks like they are slotting into what you would want from those positions. So you have a huge backcourt who both of them look like the real deal, and then you have quality starters up and down the young part of the roster. And then as far as the vets, I know they added Nerlens, I know they added Burks. Burks to me has always been a relatively underrated vet from the analytics standpoint, so I like that addition. Insofar as guiding them through the next 2 years, obviously if they're going to be a contender in 4 or 5 years, he's probably no longer in the picture, but you never know. What else? We talked about Nerlens, we talked about Burks, we talked about, I think they added someone else. I don't remember, sorry. But, and then their other rookie was Duran. I also thought he, like, again, we're watching these games to project how these skills might translate, right, to the next level. And I liked a lot of what I saw here, too. And remember, I'm not a homer. I'm not just saying this because, I'm not a Pistons fan. I don't really care about the Pistons at all. I watch all the games, and then I try to keep a mental tab of every player that I encounter. And it just so happened that it all coalesced into thinking that Detroit has a really bright future. But anyways, like, for example, like all the bigs in front of him that were drafted, I forget their names. I go on NBA draft. But the guy in San Antonio and the guy... It escapes me right now, but they're the first top 4 picks were bigs. There's a smattering of guards. Then it was like 2 more bigs, and then the Santa Clara guy, and then excuse me, Darren right here. And I watched them, and I think right now, like, obviously it's too early, but I think this guy Duran has the better tools to succeed as a big. So I'm not just saying that. Like I actually, so obviously I could be wrong, but just wanted to talk about why I think he projects a little better than maybe some of those other guys. That's like an okay move. You might not get that. Sorry, I rewound too far. That's an okay move. You're probably not going to get that in the NBA. Player of his caliber, but it's nice that he has it. I like that play. The board, obviously, like, the guy didn't. It was a tough bounce, but the vision and to recognize it immediately, you like to see that in a big. I love passing bigs. I always have. I believe there's another. I watched this video like one time. I believe there's another. Okay, you see a small guy again. It's good that you have that tool. Doesn't shy away from. Oh, right here, yeah. This is a really good find too. Really fast recognition. And then puts it right on the money. The defender was a little asleep, but it's good that everyone up and down the roster has the passing tool. We saw that Ivy has some good vision. We know Cade has good vision. He averaged like 6 dimes last year. I expected to go up to 8.5 maybe this year. I know Stu can pass a little. Yeah, it's when, especially like evoking the image of the old school Pistons teams where they had a very good ball movement offense. It's nice to see if they can recreate that type of play. Phil. If this was 2K, you'd get plus points for Phil laying correctly right there. Nothing original, but it's nice to see bigs that still rim run as opposed to just pop out to the perimeter on a semi break because I like this play. That to me, that's like you understand the game. That's like either a DHO fake or a pinch fake, depending on where you are on the floor. Um, Draymond does this a lot when you kind of fake the handoff. You catch the defender sleeping. Obviously, it's not going to work every time, but once or twice a game, it definitely works. And then the wherewithal to finish, obviously. But yeah, like plays like that really show that like you're not just a lot of bigs are just out there running with their chicken like chickens with their heads cut off. But that to me shows that this guy is not. So I like it. So I think they have a lot of good pieces. I think they're going to arrive earlier. And again, I wanted to make this video so that in case the prediction comes true, I can look back and look like a beast. So thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for the Pistons games this year.